We are honored to have litigator Mark Z. Zauderer as our commencement speaker. In nearly half a century at the bar, Mr. Zauderer has compiled an unparalleled record of success in the courtroom, the boardroom, and in public service, and set an example of superb lawyering and selfless dedication to the profession and to the community that will inspire generations of law students. In fact, Mr. Zauderer has just created a new scholarship at Touro Law Center, continuing his leadership and commitment to the profession. When New York State top judges, attorneys, and CEOs face tough cases or need expert counsel, or when the nation's most trusted media need a thoughtful commentator, he is their go-to lawyer. Despite his demanding schedule of complex litigation, he has always found the time to contribute to the public understanding of the legal system and to answer the call of judicial leaders to help improve the courts and the profession. In 1991, New York Chief Judge Sol Wachtler concluded that suing the governor and the legislature was the only way to get adequate funding for state courts. He tapped Mr. Zauderer as his lead trial counsel. In 2003, Chief Judge Judith Kaye chose him to spearhead efforts to reform New York's antiquated jury system, naming him chair of the Commission on the Jury, a blue ribbon panel that held public hearings and recommended changes to make better use of citizens' time in jury service. 2 years later, at the Chief Judge's request, he held town hall-style meetings with high school students in courtrooms throughout New York State to engage them in a dialogue on our jury system. In 2012, Chief Judge Jonathan Lippman appointed Mr. Zauderer to a task force on commercial litigation in the 21st century, and the following year, he appointed him to serve on the Commercial Division's Permanent Advisory Council. He is quoted often in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Law Journal, and other national print and electronic media, and has been the subject of 9 half-hour interviews on the acclaimed national PBS television program, The Open Mind, on subjects including the jury system, mandatory retirement for judges and lawyers, cameras in the courts, and the future of the legal profession. Among his many honors and awards, last year the New York Law Journal selected him for its award for Lawyers Who Lead by Example for his lifetime contributions to public service. He was raised in Brooklyn, received a Bachelor of Arts with distinction and departmental honors from Union College, and his Juris Doctor from New York University School of Law. In 2007, Union College awarded him its Ella Follett Knott Alumni Medal for great distinction in the field. We could not be more honored and delighted to have my friend Mark Zauderer with us today to share words of wisdom and to welcome our graduates to the profession.
Good afternoon. This looks like the largest jury pool I've ever faced. It's very intimidating. So, Dr. Kadish, Dean Salkin, distinguished faculty, family, friends, and of course, the graduates of 2016, good afternoon, and what an exciting day for all of you. It's a day that I promise that you will remember for many decades from now, because this gathering celebrates your impressive accomplishments and the recognition that you have earned through your hard work at Touro. When I was given the honor of sharing this day with you, I asked to meet at Touro with a group of students to learn more about you, your backgrounds, your interests, and your goals. And what I found was something that I really was not prepared for. And in speaking with many of you, I learned that your pursuit of a law degree was not merely a convenient path that you took by default upon graduation from college. And over the years, I've become familiar with a number of law schools, and your law school is different. Not one of those law schools stands up to Touro for the optimism and idealism that its students demonstrate. You are people who have chosen to make law the servant of your efforts to help your community and its people, people who, in many cases, are desperately in need of help. And I'm certainly not giving you an empty compliment. Let me share with you some examples of your own life stories. Laura Ahern, who is being graduated with us today, is the founder and an executive director of the Crime Victims Center in Suffolk County. It's a rape crisis center that provides support services to violent crime victims, including elderly, minor, and disabled victims. Laura has received numerous public awards for her work and calls her law degree, and I quote her, both a shield to guard and a weapon to protect the most vulnerable populations in our society, end quote. Expressing her appreciation for Touro, she notes, quote, every law school has professors that can teach substantive law, but not every law school has staff, administrators, and professors that always make themselves and resources available to assist students in achieving outcomes that will have significant impact in their lives and the lives of those they seek to help with a law degree. Stefan Williams, who is also with us today, was born in Guyana, South America, and moved to the United States at age 11 and was raised in the Bronx. And after graduating from John Jay College with a BA in the criminal justice system, he originally wanted to make a change in the world by focusing on international relations, but he soon realized, in his words, that, quote, ground zero for all the issues in the world are at the bottom level where all the people are, end quote. And in addition to interning at a private law firm during law school and at the Public Defender's Office in the Eastern District of New York, he participated in the Iraqi Refugee Assistance Program. It's an organization that helps people who have worked for the U.S. military in Iraq or Afghanistan to obtain refugee status in the U.S. to avoid persecution in their own country. By the way, today is Stefan's 25th birthday, so how about a hand for him? Anthony Avitable. Are you here, Anthony? He decided to go to Touro Law primarily because of Dean Salkin, who was engaged in enhancing the law school curriculum, bringing in more fine professors, and securing donations to help support the new programs and the initiatives that she envisioned for the law school. Anthony wanted to be part of that movement. In fact, in the summer, after his first year, Anthony found his calling. Professor Ken Rosenblum, who's the director of the Touro Law Center Veterans and Service Members' Rights Clinic, welcomed Anthony to participate in his efforts and apply for a fellowship. And as a result, Anthony has worked tirelessly to help veterans with numerous legal issues that confront them both in and out of court. And by the way, Anthony has been offered a commission in the U.S. Army JAG Corps upon graduation from law school. And listen to the story of Katique Sanchez. She is the first person in her family to receive a professional degree. Her family migrated from Colombia, and her parents struggled to support her education. She recalls that her mother always said, and I quote her, "Education is something no one can take away from you," unquote. And with others in her class, Katique participated in Touro's International Refugee Assistance Project. She intends to continue her relationship with Touro and her involvement with the International Refugee Assistance Project as a supervising attorney. Alexandros Tissonis, through his work in Touro's family and bankruptcy law clinics, has helped dozens of indigent clients. Through creative lawyering, he has helped clients climb out of hopelessness and guide them through difficulties into a positive life. And for his excellent work, he was named the Murray and Shirley Rubenstein Clinician of the Year. He is grateful to Touro for providing him with a life-changing experience in law school, and he intends to make helping the financially disadvantaged his future area of concentration. And consider Tal Stanicki's story. Finding his passion, he journeyed from being a near high school failure to a magna cum laude college graduate with honors in psychology. He became a mental health technician in one of the country's top private mental hospitals and worked with patients ranging from child trauma victims to people at risk for suicide. He decided to become a lawyer in order to champion the cause of those with mental health issues and in dealing with the legal system. He credits Touro's law professors with infusing him with a sense of purpose in improving the lives of people with mental health challenges. And last but not least, I want to recognize Gabrielle Cleaves, who at a young age, she witnessed a close family member wrongfully convicted of a crime. During law school, Gabrielle received numerous awards for excellence and has had the opportunity to intern in the Narcotics and Street Gang Bureau of the Nassau District Attorney's Office. She has just been offered and accepted a full-time position in that office after graduation. Gabrielle calls Dean Salkin, as she puts it, quote, the best dean, unquote, and says, quote, I will always be thankful for Touro Law Center. They helped me make my dreams come true, end quote. Now, I know that many others here today have accomplished similar great things, and time does not permit me to recount all of these wonderful accomplishments, so please do not be offended by the omissions. But in spite of your many accomplishments, you are going to face challenges in your life, and I want to talk to you for a few minutes about one of these. It's called the challenge of professionalism. Now, professionalism is a word that may be familiar to you, but it's probably mostly a thought in the background, one of those nice sounding attributes that one should strive for. But let me give you a different take on the meaning of professionalism. For those of you who remember your history, over a period of centuries, people in the so-called learned professions such as law, medicine, accountancy, architecture, and others achieved a high station in our society. They each developed their own codes of ethics and standards of professional conduct. The coin of the realm for such professional people was not money, but the respect and admiration that the public held for people who were devoted to their education and careers and allowed them to serve the public. Doctors made house calls on nights and weekends, and they didn't return home until all their patients had been seen. Lawyers helped clients in need and often charged them only what they could pay. Professionals were different from others. They rose above the so-called morals of the marketplace and earned the trust of those they served. I'd like to recall for you an incident that stands out in my mind several years ago that illustrates the difference between lawyers and many others. I was attending a bar conference in New York City at a hotel where many sections of the New York State Bar were holding their annual meeting. And there must have been 1,000 lawyers there on a particular day. And as I got in the elevator with several of my colleagues, all of us wearing those name tags that you're familiar with, several businessmen were on the opposite side of the elevator. And seeing our name tags, one of the businessmen said to me, quote, did you lawyers learn a lot about making money this morning in your meetings? And I said, no. I attended a session on legal ethics. My friend here attended a lecture on changes in the laws of will and estates, and my other friend here gave a talk on his group efforts to set up a pro bono clinic to assist people who could not afford to pay for legal services. And what had the businessmen attended? They had attended a session on building profitability through mergers and a reduction of workforce. In other words, making money by firing employees after a corporate merger. So as the doors to that elevator opened, I walked out and I said to myself, I'm so glad I'm a professional. But in recent decades, there have been some alarming trends that you need to be aware of that impact professionalism in the world you are entering. Professionalism is on attack from within as well as from without. Partners who may have spent their entire life in a law firm because their legal skills are respected are now being evaluated primarily by the amount of business they generate and the number of hours they bill. And if they don't meet these so-called metrics, they are pushed out. Associates are often not given the training that the firms once prided themselves in because neither the firm's clients nor the firm are willing to absorb the cost involved in helping a new lawyer write a brief or memo or attend court to learn from more experienced lawyers. And unlike in the past, when an arguable conflict of interest would preclude a law firm from representing a particular client, and the firm would then decline the representation, today a law firm is likely to fight tooth and nail to keep the matter and oppose a motion to disqualify the firm based on the claimed conflict. Let me give you an example to illustrate my point about the decline of professionalism. You may remember that a decade ago, the major energy company Enron, you remember Enron? Well, it failed spectacularly and some people went to jail. Enron's accounting firm at the time was one of the world's largest, Arthur Andersen and Company, which it had failed to detect Enron's fraudulent business practices. And the accounting firm was indicted for various reasons and soon went out of business. And it was observed at the time that the professionalism that once was associated with that accounting firm had declined. Why? Well, when Mr. Arthur Andersen started the accounting firm many decades before, partners in the firm were compensated based on the quality of their work and dedication to client service. Decades later, as in so many other professional organizations, the firm's compensation system had changed. Partners were now compensated based on the revenue they brought in from clients. Well, given these financial incentives and disincentives, the partners overseeing the Enron account were disincentivized to find any problems with Enron's financial accounting, because had they raised these problems with Enron's management, the accounting firm might be fired, and the partners overseeing the Enron account would suffer financially if the Enron account were lost. So much for the independence of so-called independent accountants. So what will professionalism mean for you? Let me suggest to you the following. Professionalism is taking to heart and keeping on your desk New York's Code of Professional Conduct that governs our practice of law. Professionalism is always using your independent judgment while taking into account the views of others. Professionalism is saying no when your client tells you to do something that is not in accord with what you believe is right. Professionalism is doing your best at all times, but being willing to admit your mistakes, for it's from making mistakes that we learn. Professionalism is holding your temper when a lawyer adversary or even a judge in court says something that offends you, but it also is speaking up when the circumstances dictate that you do so. Professionalism is acting civilly toward lawyers representing clients adverse to your clients, even if you do not like or respect those lawyers. You will not only respect yourself for this, but you will find that over time, even your adversaries will refer clients to you because they respect you. Professionalism is keeping your promise when you make a commitment to a client or a colleague. And professionalism is remembering that if you speak at all, you will speak the truth. Your reputation is your most valuable possession, and has been said it takes a lifetime to acquire a reputation, but only a moment to lose it. So please remember, respect yourself and those around you. If you do that, you will succeed no matter what path you may follow. Rest assured, the financial compensation will follow. If you respect your work and you respect yourself for the way you do it, you will not only succeed, but you will experience a lifetime of satisfaction in your chosen profession. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you, and my best wishes to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Zauderer, for those inspiring, heartfelt, and personal remarks, and also very important advice for all of us to remember about professionalism. Will Dr. Kadish please join me at the podium? Mark C. Zauderer, as an outstanding leader in the legal profession, a consummate advocate for the cause of justice and truth, and as an exceptional role model for our graduates, I am honored to present to Dr. Alan Kadish at this time as a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
Upon the recommendation of the Jacob D. Fuchsberg School of Law at Touro College, as president of Touro College, and under the authority granted to me by the Board of Trustees of Touro and the Board of Regents of the State of New York, I hereby confer upon Mark Zauderer the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa with all the rights, privileges, obligations, and immunities appertaining thereto. Congratulations, Mark.